Nan.
How are you?
Very great.
Good to see you.
You as well. This is a great facility you have.
Thank you. Thank you. Glad to have you here.
So everybody sees the Local First stickers and all of the local businesses, but what exactly is Local First? What does it constitute? What's your mission?
All right. Well, our mission is to support independent, locally owned businesses statewide. We do that by means of a public education campaign, marketing and branding support for the businesses themselves. So we're just here to proclaim the value and the vitality of local businesses to our community, to our economy. We've done a lot of studies that we have data to share, we have stories to share. Basically, we're leading a movement to support local business.
That's awesome. What were you doing before this? How did you fall into this role? How did you become this massive micro and macro movement maker here?
That's a good description of it. It really is both of those things. It's interesting. Well, my personal background, do you mean?
Sure, yeah.
I owned and operated a business for 17 years, a bakery in Holiday. And so my grown-up career, I stumbled into that actually as a young English major. It was kind of an accident that I became a business owner. So everything I learned in business I learned by experience, and a lot of it the hard way, and a lot of it in kind of isolated, didn't know where to go for mentors or peers. So I think I bring that sensibility to this job, and it's a useful understanding of what are the challenges of a local business owner.
Nice.
How does it help to be connected to the bigger community, and how can we help each other, basically.
So there's a lot of local business owners and new entrepreneurs out there that are wanting to start their businesses. What type of advice do you think that you can give them?
That's a great question. I think the most important thing is to be connected to community, both connected to peers and connected to mentors, and to realize there is actually a lot more help than anyone thinks available. So start asking about that help. A lot of it comes from municipalities. There's an amazing amount of support available if you scratch at it and look for it. And then the other biggest thing is we're always trying to teach the power of collective success. And have a mindset regarding that instead of the kind of cutthroat competition mindset. Those two things are really opposite, and again we see the successes of businesses that join together, whether it's a neighborhood business district or a peer group. So that's one of my strongest pieces of advice. Is that collective, the power of that collective success, I think it's magic. It's amazing.
That's awesome. So Wasatch Community Gardens is right outside. Do you want to take a cold walk out there and
sure.
Go to chill?
Yeah, it's good to step outside.
Okay.
Take a look at the neighborhood.
You talk about local community and collectivism and coming together as a community. You don't really think about that when you're buying whatever it is that you're buying a lot of the times.
Right.
And I think it's super essential that you're doing that.
Yeah.
And so why? How did you get involved with this? How did you realize that the collective power is more powerful than just being isolated as a business owner?
Well, I'm glad you just said what you said, because I think the invitation of the buy local invitation is to make that thoughtful choice to purchase with people in mind. I personally am most motivated by this space for creative expression and the attention to authentic relationship.
Oh, that's huge. That definitely brings back the human element into our experience, and that's in my opinion, I don't know about everyone else, but mine is that's what the essence of life is all about, the interaction, the humankind, because this is just one big spaceship and we're just here together,
Right. I really liked that, to talk about it, the humanizing effect, because I think that's the difference here. We're either becoming more isolated or less, and every time we're relating on an authentic level, it's a better place. Our daily experience is better. So, I think you and I share that.
Yeah, let's take a walk.
All right.
You talk about the human element a lot of the times. What type of local projects do you feel are out there? Out here locally, like here in our environment, our community?
Well, we're walking around in a great community garden that's anchoring an up-and-coming, vibrant neighborhood business district. Across the street, we have No Brow Coffee and Atlas Architects, Sages moving in down the street. So there's some like good businesses bringing vibrant flavor to what already is a diverse and interesting neighborhood with attract stuff.
Nice.
And it's part of the reason we're here in this neighborhood. So that's one of our interests is promoting positive elements of place. So we're always trying to cultivate that content, tell those stories, and help people think of their community in terms of place and what's unique, what's authentic. Fall more deeply in love, I guess, with your own neighborhood. That's one of the ideas.
Ownership.
Yeah, take ownership, right?
Lovely ownership of our reality around us.
Yeah.
So is Local First anywhere else in the United States? Or is it strictly here? Like, are you guys part of a larger interconnected web of
so we belong to like an affiliate group. There's about 150 buy local movements nationwide. Sometimes they're kind of micro and they're just developed around a town, and sometimes they're statewide like ours.
Okay.
Just depends on how people want to get organized. So we're connected to other, like groups to get some good ideas from people. They're all, as you can guess, fairly independent. So,
right.
It's a group of people that aren't doing things in any kind of, they're all pretty original, I guess is what I'm saying. Austin, Texas was one of the leaders. This movement nationwide kind of came out of booksellers. Independent bookstores nationwide. If you can think back before Amazon had all the market share, there was Barnes & Noble and other big boxes that were kind of crushing the locals, and so that's really how the local movement was born in the United States. It was a response coming from bookstores. Started in Austin. Betsy Burton of the King's English Bookshop here in Salt Lake was really connected to that national booksellers community, and she's one of the founders of this movement here.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's kind of the history of it.
And when were you guys founded?
Let's see, 2005, about 8 years old.
Wow.
In terms of an official nonprofit.
Nice. Well, have you guys made any major milestones, or what sort of accomplishments can you share?
Yeah, so we have over 4,000 independent businesses registered with us throughout the state of Utah. So that's, that number is just a milestone.
Absolutely. That's
telling you that the business owners are hungry for that kind of support and messaging, and so I think that's something. I think some of the other milestones, even just lately, are deeper municipal support. So Salt Lake City, Salt Lake County, Mayor Becky McAdams, for instance, on Friday is going to do a press event proclaiming this Black Friday is the beginning of Shift Your Spending Week and the invitation to buy locally instead of just throwing it down about Black Friday. We're inviting people to sleep in, basically.
Oh, really?
Sleep in and buy locally.
Well, tell us about the Shift Your Spending movement that you're having, your campaign that you have coming up.
So the invitation is gentle because this is not an all or nothing proposition. We're really not extremists. We're just asking the general public, if you haven't thought about it before, shift 10% of your spending towards a locally owned business over the holiday season. If every household did that statewide on an annual basis, $1.3 billion would stay in the Utah economy that's currently going quietly away in nightly deposits. So it would be here, creating jobs, building our communities. That's just a 10% shift. So that's the heart of the idea of Shift Your Spending as a seasonal campaign, is just, hey, a little in this direction.
Yeah.
If you're already, and I think there's a second layer that's important, because some people are already committed to this.
Right.
And I think if you're already committed, if you're already more than 10% there, then do your whole holiday shopping locally. It's fun. You just make that choice. Like, I'm buying every gift I'm going to buy from a local producer or local artisan.
And it's nice to know them. It's nice to know that they're your neighbor. It's so simple yet revolutionary. Like, we are consumers here in the United States, and we might as well be able to use our consumerist powers to make a difference, to actually change the things around us. And it's cool. I 100% support everything that you have going on here. So, right quick, what are some statistics? Like, what type of statistics are there with, like, the difference of spending on, like, for national change compared to?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we even have data specific to Utah over the last 2 years. So we used to be quoting a study done in Austin,
right,
and some follow-up studies done nationally, but local first went out of our way, really, because of course we want local data.
Absolutely.
So that the study that used to be cited, and a lot of people know, is that nationally, on average, of all these studies, we're showing that 3 times the amount of revenue spent at a local retailer stays in state versus a national retailer. So there's a 3 times factor, that multiplier effect of the return to the economy. When we did that study here in Utah, it's a 4 times, the average is 4 times factor. So it's 4 times the amount of your dollar is going to stay right here. An interesting side note to that study, kind of a small note that I think is a big deal, is that our local businesses give back 3 times the rate to charitable institutions, churches, schools than national chains. So that's a big deal.
That's a huge
it's 3% versus 1%, and that's another reason just to keep your dollars here. I mean, because it's giving back in so many ways: jobs, charitable contributions,
right,
local goods. It's creating also the right economic circumstances for the creative efforts. So you look at the local food artisans we have. It's just a rich tapestry here in Utah. That's coming because people are shopping at locally owned stores that will relate to those small artisans, and we have the public market and farmers markets as incubators. If we didn't have all that going, if those weren't supported by shoppers, consumers, that it just wouldn't be any of this.
Right.
It'd be all just, I don't know, Rice Krispies and Cheetos.
Yeah, totally.
It's nice to have it be like diverse and rich, and that comes out of this decision to purchase locally.
Yeah. Well, you heard it here. This is Nan Seymour, and you have the power. It's all of our power, and it happens with $3. So spend wisely, please. And thank you.
Yeah.
Tremendously.
Thanks. You're awesome.